What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another fantastic Effects Fridays. Today I'm going to be showing you how you can pretty much add animations to anything in After Effects. Let's get into it. So if you are new here, my name is Jacob Scott and I make photography and filmmaking videos like this one every single week. So if that is something of interest to you, be sure to go down below and hit that subscribe button. And if that's not enough to make you go and subscribe to this YouTube channel right there, I'm also doing a giveaway once I hit 1,000 subscribers here on YouTube for a $100 Adorama gift card. To get entered, hit the subscribe button and check the first link in the description. So jumping into this, let me show you the shot that we're working here with today. Now the reason I chose this shot is because there is camera movement in it. So whether you wanted to animate something that's not moving at all or animate something that is moving, this will show you how to do it all the way through. Pretty much if you have something that's not moving with zero camera movement, you can just go ahead and skip the tracking step altogether. But might as well show you this way so you can, animate whatever it is you want to animate. So jumping into this, we are going to go ahead and track this footage. So our animation will stay stuck to whatever it is we're animating and make it look like it's actually part of the scene. So first thing we're gonna do is go over here, right click, go up to new and null object. And we're just gonna rename this null object track. Now, as of right now, that null object does absolutely nothing. What it's gonna do eventually is we're gonna apply our tracking information to that null object, which is now called track, and it's just gonna pretty much be home base so we can parent any animations that we want directly to that null object. So it's pretty much just a home base for all our tracking information. So then we know when we want to parent a layer, we know we can just parent it directly to that and it'll pretty much be locked in on this footage. Now to actually get that tracking information on there, what we're gonna do is click our footage that we're going to be tracking, which in this case, it's this right here. Gonna go over to this tab on the right that says tracker and hit track motion. Now when I do that, you're gonna see this box pop up here with two boxes. Now I'm gonna drag this over. We're gonna be animating this mouse in it, so I'm gonna drag our track over to this mouse to get the most accurate track possible. Now the inside box is what we're actually going to be tracking, and the outer box is where it's going to be looking for essentially what's in the inside box. So when you have footage that's moving a lot, you're gonna have to make that box bigger, because every frame that thing is going to be moving more and more throughout the frame. So you're going to have a larger search area for the software to find it. But in this case, we have a really subtle camera movement between every single frame, so we can go ahead and make this box smaller. Also, the smaller the box, the less time it has to find looking for that information to go ahead and track. So it's just gonna end up tracking faster overall. So I put that right there on that G. Let me actually go and find a frame where it's a little bit sharper. Maybe right there. And that box should be big enough. But there's also some rotation in this. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit this rotation tab, and you're gonna see it's gonna bring up a second box here. And I'm gonna go ahead and bring that second one. That should be enough detail right there to track. And essentially, again, the second box doesn't have to be too big because, like I said, this camera movement isn't really moving a lot at all. And I might as well go ahead and just hit scale too in case, I don't know, because I want to. All right, so from here, we can go ahead and track forwards. Now, those boxes are fairly small, so it's gonna pretty much run through this track pretty quick, so this should just take a minute or so. It's almost done. Okay, so it is done. Now I'm pretty much just gonna scrub through this footage, see how it looks. Pretty good. Also, we didn't start at the very beginning frame, so we're gonna go back to our first frame where it tracked and just hit track backwards, and we'll finish it going backwards. And as you can see now, it is tracked all the way through here. Looks pretty good. Now what we need to do is hit edit target, and this is where that track or null object comes into play. So we're gonna be editing that track, so it's going to be applying that tracking information to that null. Hit OK and hit apply. Make sure X and Y is selected, so it's gonna be both up and down and left to right values, and hit OK. Now if I go over here and go down to our track, you're gonna notice now it is tracked to our footage. So from here, that's all the tracking we need to do. Now we can get into the actual animation of whatever it is we're going to go ahead and animate. So to do that, I'm just gonna go ahead and animate this little object here on the mouse. What I'm gonna do is right click over here, new, and shape layer. Now I've been using these shape layers, and once you start to do this more and more, you're gonna figure out tons of different things that you can go ahead and do with this, and it's honestly super fun to do with your footage. So what I'm gonna do, shape layer, you're gonna see here that I have it set to fill, none, and stroke, solid color. You can make it whatever color you want, and pixel size, you can go ahead and kind of figure that out after the fact, because it will let you adjust that after you go ahead and make your shape. So with this, you can go ahead and make squares, you can go ahead and go to clips, make circles, but in this case, this isn't a perfect square, so we're gonna go ahead, it's actually angled a little bit, and we're just gonna freehand draw this here. And there that is, like that. And like I said, you can go ahead and adjust the pixel size after the fact. Now from here, we're gonna make sure we want it to stay locked in on that spot the entire time. So we're gonna go to parent link. And like I said, there's that track. And now you can see it's locked on to there very nicely. All right, so now that this is tracked on here, I want to go ahead and give it a little bit of life and actually some animation to it rather than it just being stuck on there. I mean, from here, you could just go with that, but let's kind of spice it up just a little bit. So what we're gonna do is go over to our shape layer, go to add and to trim paths. Now you're gonna see trim paths pop up right here on our shape layer, hit the drop down menu. And from here, what you're gonna do is you're gonna see you have start, end, and offset. Trim paths is super easy to work with. So start is at 0% right now, end is at 100% right now, and offset is just at 0. So our start is where our starting point of our shape layer is. Our end is where the end, just going the opposite direction than the starting point. And then our offset is the start and where the end of our shape layer is. So what we're gonna do to just kind of add a little bit of movement, extra movement to it, is go to the starting frame. I have this set to 0. So if your start and end are set to 0 and the other one's set to 100, you're gonna have a shape. If they're both set to 100, it's gonna be completely gone. Or if they're both set to 0, it's gonna be completely gone. So what we're gonna do is go to a few frames in, make our end set to 0, and go a few more frames in and make our end set to 100. Be sure to turn on keyframes when you do this, so it creates these keyframes here. Now if we go out here, you're gonna see this is what that did. It just animates it a little bit more, but we can do even a little bit more to it. And this is what I generally like to do, is go about 5 frames or so after that first keyframe and keyframe our start, and go about 5 frames after and bring our start to 100%. That will go ahead and create another keyframe. So that's the animation that you're gonna get with that. And from here, you can just go ahead and mess with the keyframes, tweak it up to however you want it. But that's generally the animation that I prefer to do. But there's also a couple little things we can do to just help it to blend in that much better. So the first thing that I generally like to do is go ahead, highlight all our keyframes, hit F9 on your keyboard. You're gonna see that changes the shapes of our keyframes. Now they are easy ease keyframes. What that means is our animation is slowly gonna speed up and slowly speed back down to just make it a lot smoother. Now the other thing that I like to do to just help it blend with the footage a lot better is take our shape layer and motion blur our shape layer. That's just gonna help motion blur the movement from left to right, the fact that it's tracked, and help to motion blur the movement of the actual shape layer itself. But that is pretty much the basics of getting into animating your footage with these sort of animation techniques. If you did enjoy it, be sure to go down below, like I said at the beginning, hit the like and subscribe button right down here somewhere. But that's pretty much it for this one. If you have any questions, drop it in the comments, but I will see you later.